Hello, I want to show you a short tutorial of how I edited this landscape picture. This picture was taken from dpreview.com, and I'll just show you the info. This picture was being taken by a Nikon D780, and it's being shot at a shutter of 10-second, aperture of f10 and ISO 100. So what I will do first is reset everything, and then we'll begin. I'll show you from the beginning of how I made this picture look the way it is now, because let me just show you the raw file. This is the raw picture, and this is the after of how I edited it to my liking. So let me just reset everything, and then we'll go on about with our editing. So first I'll do a reset from here. Reset all the adjustments. I'll give reset all. So let us begin. So first what I'll do, just for your information, this is a Lightroom mobile. This is not on a PC. I'm using a tablet. So first I'll go to my edits panel, and then what first I will adjust is my temperature. I want the picture to be a bit warm, so you can see the temperature here is around 7250 Kelvin. Let us see, I'll make it around 10,000, which I like it to be warm for the kind of look I'm going. So it's around 10,400 Kelvin. So once that is done, I'll go to my lights panel, and here I'll adjust the exposure just a little bit, because you can see the foreground is a bit dark, but my background or my highlights are a bit more in comparison to the midground and the foreground. So I'll do a little bit of adjustment of the exposure, and then I'll bring down my highlights just to bring some of that sky, the blue sky. So what I'll do, I'll raise my shadows a little bit here. Let me show you a little bit of the shadows just to bring up some of the details that's there. So once that's done, but if I bring the overall exposure, it doesn't look good. Either it'll make my sky overexposed, or even if I bring my exposure to the right exposure that I like, you can see that my foreground is okay, my midground is okay, but you can't see the details in the sky anymore. So I'll bring it down. So what I'll do for the adjustment then, so it's easy with this new tools which you can do in Lightroom. Just select your sky, which is done by AI. I'll select my sky here. It did it for me automatically. So over here I'll adjust my sky again, bring down the exposure. I'll bring down my highlights again just for the sky. On the effects panel, I'll remove some of the haze, so I'll dehaze. So I think so that's enough. I'll go back, I'll make another mask for the sky again. Why? I'll show you. I'll just invert this mask, and then it will select the rest of the picture that is not selected. That's easy. And then again I'll adjust my exposure here of my mask. Once that is done, it looked a bit hazy to me, so what I'll do is I'll bring up the shadows a little bit, and then what I'll do, I'll go back to my effects panel. I'll remove some of the haze just to bring some of the contrast in the picture. That looked more than enough. I think so that's good enough. So I'll tick, and then what I'll do, now we are back on the overall the editing panel here. So what I'll do now, I'll adjust the curve just a little bit. I'll do a usual S curve. This is my tone curve. I'll raise up the highlights a little bit of my midground colors, and then in my dark areas I'll just bring a little bit down, make an S curve here. That's more than enough. And then for the red, green and blue channels, I'll adjust them later. So as of now, leave it here. What I'll do now is that I'll go to my color panel, go to my color adjustments. I'll do all the color adjustment here. Let me see if there are any reds. We do have some reds in the mid-ground here, so I like my reds to be a little bit red just to give some color. And then after that I'll add some saturation just to make some of the colors pop. And then let us go to the orange. Let me see if there's any orange here. Yes, we do have some orange in the sky, some orange here we can see in the water here. So I'll make them a little bit red, which the kind of look I'm going for. So that's my sky. Add some saturation here. What about the yellows? Let me see if there are some yellows here. Yeah, we do have some yellows again in the sky. Make it also a bit red. And then add some saturation here. What about my greens? Let's see some of the greens. We have very few greens here. I'll just add some saturation. And then to the aqua color, let me see. We do have some aquas here a little bit, not so much, but I'll leave it as it is. And then I'll go to the blues. I'll bring down the luminance of the blues. Luminance will just make the color brighter or darker, so I'll just make it a little bit darker. I can add the saturation here, but I'll add just a little bit. Plus 13 is fine. And then I'll not touch the purple and the magenta. I'll leave it as it is. Let me just see. There are no magentas. Leave it as it is. Done. That's just half of what's the look I'm going for. I'll leave it as it is as of now. So now next I'll show you what we can do is we can do another panel here, which you can adjust your shadows, you can adjust your midtones, and you can adjust your highlights. What I'll do with the highlights is I want the highlights to be a bit red, so I'll push it towards red. I think so that's good enough. Let me see if I want to add more saturation or something. Saturation, I think so that's fine. That's good enough. Maybe I'll make it plus 45. That's good enough. Let me check my midtones. My midtones, I'll also make it the same. I'll make it red, but I'll try yellow first. Let me see. Yellow is okay, but the kind of look I want is I want a red sky, red midtones. I'll keep it in the orange areas here. I think so that's more than enough. In the orange, I'll decrease the saturation a little bit. That's good enough. Last will be my shadows. Let me add some greens or a little bit of blues to the shadows. I want a little bit of teal color, not really green. I'll add some teal here. I'll check the saturation a little bit. I'll leave the saturation at plus 30. So I'm almost done. It looks quite good now. And then after that, let us go back to the lights panel. I'll just show you here. I'll go back to my lights panel here, and then I've already told you before that I'll come back to my tone curve. So what I'll do with the red, green and blue curve here, I'll make an S curve again. So I made just 2 points here, only on my highlights and on my darker areas here. So what I'll do with the highlights, I'll bring up the reds, I'll bring down the reds from here, which will make it a little bit green in the darker areas. That's the kind of look I want. And then with the greens, I add a little bit of, we call it a little bit of magenta up. I mean a little bit of teal up, and then a little bit of magenta down. Magenta here. And then with the blues, let us see with the blues, should I add the blues in the sky or should I make it a bit warm? Shadows, I'll make it a bit warm in the shadows here. And then just a little bit of blue in the sky. I think so that's more than enough. Let us see the before and after now. Before, after. I think so that's good enough for this short tutorial. I'll do more, this kind of short tutorials ahead. Maybe I'll do some of the portrait pictures and all. This is just a landscape. So thank you for watching, and if there's anything that you need, let me know in the comment section. Thank you.